Today I'm going to do something that I don't do very much, and that is delve into the Bible publicly. I think it's important, some of the things that have happened in recent years, that when we see something and God placed a burden on our heart to acknowledge it. And today I'm going to read from Daniel chapter 11, which talks about things that are going to happen in the last days. And one of the specific things about Daniel, even Daniel himself was told that he would not understand the things that he was writing. And scholars and many people have not understood the things written in Daniel. But it's also said that in the last days that men's eyes and hearts would be open to the things that were written, and they would recognize the signs of the times. And so I feel strongly about these verses. I believe they pertain to the last few leaders that we have had here in America. And basically we know that whoever rules the country of America, North America, is pretty much identified as the leader of the world. They're called presidents, and here they're called kings or leaders, but the meaning is the same. And this first, I'm going to start in verse 9, which I believe talks about Saddam Hussein and his sons, and their invasion of Kuwait City, which led to the United States getting involved with NATO in driving Saddam Hussein back into his own country. And then years later, a few years later, that would be, the initial would have been Desert Storm, and a few years later we returned back, or the United States turned back against Saddam Hussein and went after him and attacked him in his own country. And so that would have been Iraqi freedom. And then, of course, that evolved into a bigger war that has continued to go on in the Middle East today. The formation of the Taliban and ISIS, which are basically robbers, which are talked about in here, that tried to take advantage of the situation and move into Iraq and now into Syria. And so I'm going to start here in verse 9 and read from Daniel chapter 11. So the king of the south shall come into his kingdom, and shall return into his own land. But his sons shall be stirred up, and shall assemble a multitude of great forces, and one shall certainly come and overflow and pass through, and then shall he return and be stirred up, even to his fortress. And the king of the south, which I believe is Saddam Hussein, shall be moved with choler, and choler is anger, and shall come forth and fight with him, even with the king of the north. The king of the north, I believe, is the leader of North America, which at that time would have been George Bush. And he shall set forth a great multitude, but the multitude shall be given into his hand. And when he hath taken away the multitude, America, after they pushed Saddam Hussein back to Iraq, we left. And when he hath taken away the multitude, his heart shall be lifted up, and he shall cast down many 10,000s, but he shall not be strengthened by it. At this period of time, Saddam Hussein went after the Kurds, and they were his enemies, and he tried to destroy them. And when he had taken away the multitude, his heart shall be lifted up. After Bush took away the military, then Saddam Hussein gained courage again, and he cast down many 10,000s, but he was not strengthened by it. For the king of the north shall return, And so Bush came back with the military and his armies. And shall set forth a multitude greater than the former, and shall certainly come after certain years with a great army and with much riches. And this is Iraqi freedom. And in those times there shall be many stand up against the king of the south. And also the robbers of thy people shall exalt themselves to establish the vision, but they shall fall. So the king of the north shall come and cast up a mount, and take the most fenced cities, and the arms of the south shall not withstand, neither his chosen people, neither shall there be any strength to withstand. But he that cometh against him shall do according to his own will. And none shall stand before him, and he shall stand in the glorious land which by his hand shall be consumed. And I don't remember the exact date, but that was fulfilled when Bush traveled to Iraq and visited the troops. He went and stood in that glorious land of Babylon, which was once a glorious city, and which was consumed by his order, by his hands. And he shall set his face to enter with the strength of his whole kingdom, and the upright ones with him. Thus shall he do. And he shall give him the daughter of women, corrupting her, but she shall not stand on his side, neither be for him. Now this sounds like a confusing verse about women. But it was during this period of time that women were allowed into the military and in combat positions during Bush's tenure. How do I know? If you look back at history, you can read about it. But I was in the military at that time, and I was upset with that fact. I do not believe that women should be in combat positions in the military, and I believe that this is the foretelling of this. He shall give him the daughters of women, corrupting her, but she shall not stand on his side, neither be for him. If you will look at the record, after this period of time, many women turned against Bush, both politically as well as spiritually. And after this he shall turn his face unto the isles, and shall take many isles. But a prince for his own behalf shall cause the reproach offered by him to cease. Without his own reproach he shall cause it to turn upon him. There was many small wars that Bush was involved in. And I believe that prince talked about was a prince of Saudi Arabia. And I believe that this next verse talks about 9/11. And this is Bush. Then he shall turn his face toward the fort of his own land. The Twin Towers were the fort of his own land. But he shall stumble and fall and not be found. He shall turn his face toward the fort of his own land, but he shall stumble and fall and not be found. In other words, I believe that his league with this prince and Bush turning his face toward the fort of his own land, I believe is 9/11. And you can read whatever you want into that. But that's what I believe it means. And I know that Bush and Saudi Arabia and other factions had foreknowledge of the Twin Tower disaster. There's no doubt. And there shouldn't be any doubt in anybody's mind since that's happened. And verse 20 now talks about Obama. Doesn't even talk about Bill Clinton in here. God didn't even mention Clinton in here. But talks about Obama in one verse. One verse in the Bible is given to Obama, at least in Daniel. And then shall stand up a raiser of taxes in the glory of the kingdom. But within a few days he shall be destroyed, neither in anger nor in battle. within days, within a few days after Obama left office, he has been literally destroyed by Donald Trump. The things that has been revealed. Trump's revealed all the corrupt things that Obama did in the last few days when he was in office. And one of the things right now is the wiretapping that has been discovered or is known. I mean, the media reported on all these leaks, so obviously we know there was a breach of security. There had to be a wiretapping or some kind of a communication there. Now this next few verses talk about Donald Trump. And quite literally, when Hillary Clinton called Donald Trump a despicable person, she fulfilled this biblical prophecy, talked about in verse 21. And in his estate shall stand up a vile person, to whom they shall not give the honor of the kingdom. But he shall come in peaceably, and obtain the kingdom by flatteries. And with the arms of a flood shall they be overthrown from before him, and shall be broken, yea, also the prince of the covenant. And I believe that's Benjamin Netanyahu, the prince of the covenant, the leader of the Jews. And after a league made with him, he shall work deceitfully, for he shall come up and shall become strong with a small people. And he shall enter peaceably, even into the fattest parts of the province, and he shall do that which his fathers have not done, nor his fathers' fathers. He shall scatter among them the prey, and the spoil, and the riches, yea, he shall forecast his devices against the strongholds even for a time. Donald Trump is doing something that no one in the history of any country in the world has done. He has scattered, and he is scattering the riches, the prey, the spoil amongst the people. He's giving it all back to the people. This is something that no king and no ruler, no president has ever done. And it says right here, he shall do that which his fathers have not done, nor his fathers' fathers. He shall scatter among them the prey, the spoil, and the riches, and he shall forecast his devices against the strongholds, even for a time. He's fighting the media. He's fighting the globalists. He's fighting corruption in every place, high and low. He's saying he's going to drain the swamp. He's turning everything on the heads of the rulers of wickedness and of this world. Now comes another foretelling of biblical prophecy, and I believe that this next verse talks about a battle with Iran that America is going to engage in. And he shall stir up his power and his courage against the king of the south. With a great army, the king of the south shall be stirred up to battle with a very great and mighty army. But he shall not stand, for they shall forecast devices against him. Yea, they that feed the portion of his meat shall destroy him, and his army shall overflow, and many shall fall down slain. This verse is a little ambiguous and is a little cloudy, ambiguous. I'm giving it as my opinion because I don't fully understand this, and I don't want to say something that's may not turn out to be correct. But I believe that they that feed of the portion of his meat, the portion of the meat of Iran, is Russia. Russia provides arms and all kinds of things to Iran, and they're a big part of the Russian economy. And I believe that Russia will enter into a league with America, and this remains to be seen, but I believe that they will enter into a league with America and Iran will be destroyed. I believe this is talking about Trump and Vladimir Putin. Both these kings' hearts shall be to do mischief, and they shall speak lies at one table, but it shall not prosper, for yet the end shall be at the time appointed. Okay? That's as far as I'm going to read. I encourage you to read Daniel chapter 11 and see how it pertains to us today. Find out for yourself. Make your own opinion. Be prayerful, and I think that you will discover, as I have discovered, that this is talking about our times. And the following verses from chapter 28 to 45 is talking about the very end times. And in my opinion, it says it's quite possible that Trump is the last president of the United States before the end comes. Like I said, this is just my best thoughts. From what I can read, it gets, just like Daniel says, that it was hidden from his eyes, and I feel that until when the time comes that these things are happening, that they will be plain and clear to us. And I believe that's God's message to us in Daniel.